Howdy everybody, welcome to another of my videos doing prior CSS battles, retro CSS battles from the past, February 3rd, February 4th, a piece of cheese, February 5th, a hash mark. I'm not sure what to call these. Let's get right to it. What is this shape and how do we do it in the least code possible? I think I feel inclined to do it by setting margins on an element and with 2 gradients. I believe I can do it in 2 gradients. Let's see if I can hold to that by setting our margins and a height. I can constrain down this element to be just the size of what's different than the background. 70 and 80, 82. Okay. So the first gradient I would like to do is a radial gradient, which is a circle of pink, some value. We need 4 of them on there, right? Is it 25 pixels? Is it 20 pixels? 22 pixels or something like that? All right, so how do we get that to repeat? To do that, we need to give it a size. And if we want 2 on each axis, it's at least 50%, 50%, something like that. That will get us 4. We divide the space. The problem is the spacing. So what does that mean? I think these are a little too big. I misjudged. Okay. And then if we make the background a little taller, we might be able to get the spacing a little bit better. 1, 2, 3, 5, 60. Oh, so it's smaller actually. How about 40? So what's the size? What is the size? 45? No, that's even smaller yet, isn't it? 50, 51, 52, 53, 60. And then we can adjust that spacing minus 20 pixels, 15, 16, 17, 18. That is certainly better. So just purely with position and size, you can get it. In this case, what I'd like to do is do a circle at, and I'm going to make sure that this is at 0, 0, at some value. So in this case, I think it's going to be 25 pixels, 25 pixels. Almost. How about 20 pixels, 20 pixels? How about 30 pixels, 30 pixels? There we go. That's the number. And then when I increase the size of these things, it's a little easier to deal with. 51, 52, 53, 4, 60, 70, 75%, 72, 73%. And then increase the height. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. How about 100 pixels? Okay. All right. So that's that part. Next, we need a linear gradient that repeats, right? A linear gradient with that color, and then transparent to see it through. And we need to give it needs to start in the upper corner, or start at the top, and then start at the top vertically. So we need 2 numbers, 0, 0, and then give it a unit for the x-axis, but it doesn't matter. And then we need a unit for the y-axis, 50%, 6, 7, 6. How about 60, 58, 60, 61, 62, 53, 54? Or is it that magic 100 pixel number? It might be. Yeah, I think it's that magic. Okay, so now we need, what is that, 50%? It's not, it's like 55%, isn't it? And then there's the color stops. Okay, how about, is it 50%? No. Is it 60%? It is 60%. And that's how to do that shape. 2 linear gradients on an element. So we get the stripes behind and then the repeating circles there. And that's 99.9%, so not 100%. So this is probably our problem, the uneven percentages. So that's what it looks like when it's 60 pixels or 80 pixels wide. 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Is that it? Is that your card? Let's take a look. Let's hope. Okay, there it is. Yeah. So, you want to use different units, and I did use a Q unit in this, but you got to be willing to spend a little more time. I'm not always willing to spend a little more time for videos such as these, fun as they are. All right, next. Cheese. A hilarious shape. Complicated shape. An interesting shape. Okay. So how to accomplish this? I mean, the naive solution. Well, I'm not sure there is a naive solution, is there? Okay. Let's use margins to put this cheese on the screen. So I'm setting left margins there to get it the same width. 50, 60, 70, 75 to make it the same. to have it start in the right position. I need a border radius, 10 pixels or something, or 20. And our height needs to be more, 30, 40, 50. All right. So how do we do these circles? We can use new elements. There's nothing preventing us from using more elements and then putting them into place with margin. And additionally, it's possible that the way, we can do, it would be 4 radial gradients. Radial gradient at 60%, 60%, circle, this lighter color, 20 pixels, and then transparent, and then that is one way to do that. Then we need to do several of these, right? Okay. And obviously the numbers are a little wrong there. Maybe quite a bit wrong. And then this one is a darker color. Okay. So that's what this solution looks like, and I'll play this out, but I think that this is not how we want to do it. Lots of tuning and adjusting of the sizes. So we go moving backwards, it's too big, right? 15. And then it's too far over, it could be 0, and then down 30. So now we're looking at the diff to get the numbers right. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So that's the first one, and then this next one is what is 95. And I think that's not large enough and not far over enough. Is it 100%? And then 70. Sure. And then what's this one? 15 pixels. There it is. And then horizontally 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then this last one is also a little too big. 15, no, 20, 25, not big enough. And then we move it over a little. And then, and that's how we do that shape. We can submit, I think this is probably at 99.9%. Yeah, and that's it's just not great, right? Like that's a lot of code. You can't get rid of the circle. You can't really variabilize it very well. It's all on the same element. I think instead, let's nuke that, and then it's all about how short the code is. Let's do PH and create H. So we're going to do a width of, what was it, 20, height of 20, and margin, let's do a color background. It's going to be some color here. And our margin is there it is. You see it? There is our first cheese circle. 25 and 25. And by adjusting these numbers, we're going to put that where we want it. $30. Too tall, too high, so 198, 197, 96, 195. Too far over, so what, 99, 98, 97. Okay. And then let's put a border box on it. Yeah, border box. Because it's we got another small cheese there, and that's going to be negative on the x-axis, minus 10 pixels, and then a little bit positive on the y-axis. No, it's did I say border box? That's not what I want. What I want is box shadow, and we want it to be this dark orange. This is a lot kind of nicer code to work with. And I sure hope it's the same size. Maybe it's not. 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so that looks a little better. 2, 3. All right. That's not too bad. Let's start to variabilize this a little bit. So we don't have width set here. I guess we could set all of those with just margin. So if I don't set a width, you get that. And we're setting margins anyway, so that's fine. Let's do that. R M or that number. And then by setting this second number here, so this would be a --m. If we increase this number, we get something more reasonable. 4, 5, 6. You see that both of those are behaving according to what I'm hoping them to do, which is great. 40, 50, 60, 61, 62. No, too much. 55, 56, 57. There it is. Okay, and then that color, we're going to leave the background. I guess we can turn it into a var dash B for background. In this case, sometimes I use G, sometimes I use B. B for background, and then height, also a variable, because all of these are paragraph elements that we are contorting into their individual shape. Bar. Okay, so that's good. Next, add another one, and then to address it, we can do H, the sibling selector, plus H, which gets us the second one. So now, as we adjust the sizes, as we adjust these variables, we get different things. And while we're at it, let's adjust the sizing of this box shell. So var, call it --s, or that pair of numbers. So let's set the height, which is taller. It's 30 now. How is it 40? We can't see it moving yet, so let's adjust the box shadow variable. We know that's going to be positive by like 40 pixels and 10 pixels. Ooh, we're not getting anything. Where are we going wrong? Height 40. Oh, because our margins are way off, so it's off the screen, I believe. Where is it? I don't know. There it is. Now that I set a number, you can see that. All right, so 0, 0, 0, 0. So at the moment, oh, interesting. So this is totally in line with this. So that's great. I think that's great for us. So let's set a height of 50. Or no, 40, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Yeah, 50 is correct. Okay, so now margins. This margin will move it in from the left. Now, and I guess we need a border radius. Yeah, border radius. Okay. Let's do that last. It's a little harder to work with, isn't it? Okay. More margin on the left-hand side. 8, 200, 210. And then some margin here. Great. So let's turn the radius into a variable as well. Var dash dash r, and then we can do dash dash r of 50%. Okay. Now, margins. Moving these margins will move it in space. I'm going to unset this, make it square, just so I can more easily see these edges. There we go. 8, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, and then the box shadow is definitely in the confusing side, so let's move that over more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 85, and then down 20. How about 15? All right. Ooh, it's close. Let's submit that. I don't think it's right, but I like to see the 99.9%. Okay, so we've got, I think it's this. Our margins on here are just a little too much on this one. So what, 27? And I think that does it. Let's submit that. I think we're there now. That's 100%. Okay, so yeah, kind of a fun set of contortions to paragraph elements to make them into a piece of cheese. Super, super fun. So we're 3 elements. One is the color, the main color of the cheese. 2 positive holes that are the element itself with the background color, and then a variable dark color to cover up and knock out pieces of that cheese. So if I remove the background, you can see exactly what those elements are. 3 elements there, even though it looks like 5 dots. All right, and then lastly, this is a fun one. I think something about this makes me want to do an inset. I've been sort of curious to see whether an inset box shadow would be helpful for something like this, and I haven't found the excuse to do it. So here's what the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to do a conic gradient. Conic gradient, which is going to be 75% of that. So that's the basis for this. I'm going to put it at 0, 0 to begin with. That's not what I want. 100 pixels, 100 pixels. And I'm going to put no repeat on it. So I believe to do that, I need to put it here. Yeah, so I'm going to put a black or red on the back of it, so just so it really stands out. Okay, 50 pixels down, a little lower, 60, 70, and then over again, 100 pixels, 150, 160. Okay, we need to be taller, 10, 20, 160, a little wider, 20. Okay, and then we need an at value, at. $80 down, maybe it's 75 down, and then do I have this where I want it? I don't. It needs to be lower. Needs to be lower. Oh, I got some of this wrong. So yeah, the position needs to be lower, and I have the height wrong. So we're gonna add 100 here and decrease the height by 30. or indeed 110, and then decrease the height by another 10. Okay, and then our at value needs to be not at 70, how about 66? Yeah, so another one of those scenarios where the sweet spot is a number with a repeating variable, and you can't use the percentages for that, so that's no good. Same deal, 60 pixels, 70, 80. Okay. So that's that. Once I let it repeat, we should get that very nice thing there. Okay, we don't need margins, nope, and we don't need paragraph, and we can actually use the ampersand because we have no other elements. All right, so that's working. So now we want background, or no, we need, sorry, box shadow, which is inset. Inset, there it is. And then by increasing these numbers, 2, 3, and then we just do 2 of those. That is super fun. Minus, and then minus. Okay, and then that is a way to do that. I like that. I like that. It's the first time I've used inset. I think. Maybe I've done it. I just don't remember. I've been playing it with it in some of my development, but yeah. So that's a nice small score. Are there other numbers that I can skew here? So yeah, all these units are pretty long. I was trying to use percentages. You could use Q units, but I'm going to stop there. But all of these units are subject to change, right? And if you can use a percentage, actually, can I use a percentage here? I might. So if it's 30 VU and that's on the x-axis, I should be able to use a percentage and have it work. And that's a nice. And then same here, percent. Just not quite getting it done. It's just not. No, I'm trying to use Q units there, and it's just not as clean for my purposes. I'll have to do there. Q, 1, 2. Let's try that. That's a little shorter, but might not be a 100% match. It is. Okay, are there other things we can do there? How about 80Q rather than 80PX? 84Q, 84Q. Let's see if that's 100%. So these are the kind of nipping and tuck at each one of these characters, and what can you do to optimize, and then that's no longer at 100%, and that's disappointing, right? Because that gets at the the exploratory part of that, and how it's a A little bit, you know, I don't think that box shadows will accept a percentage, will they? Pretty sure they don't. They just say, no, that's not a meaningful amount of a box shadow, right? Percentage, like what percentage of what, buddy? I don't believe it's valid. If there's a way to do it, I'd be very curious to know about it. That's not something I've explored. All right, thanks for watching. These were from February 3rd, and then 4th, and then 5th of February 2024. Super fun shape. Super. It feels like, you know, having done all of them at this point, it feels like they're getting more playful at CSSBattle.dev, and I appreciate that. Like, that's like, oh, and I really love it when, you know, the shape is just, you know, it's a surprise in some manner, and, you know, whether that's a piece of cheese or a geometric shape that's intriguing, really like it, or what seems like a very basic shape that you could do any number of ways. Like, there's nothing preventing you from doing a single square here and then using box shadows for everything, right? So, and here's a box shadow, here's a box shadow, there's a box, you know, there's it's kind of limitless how many choices you've got in terms of all the different things that CSS can do. All right, thanks for watching. Appreciate you hanging in there for this long. If you're still there, have a great day. Take care of each other, and you know, make some of the coolest HTML and CSS. They're awesome technologies. They're available to you. You can publish your thoughts, feelings, opinions, designs on the web. It's pretty great. It belongs to all of us. Okay, bye-bye.